from Los Angeles by defense attorney Debra Opri. She once represented the Jackson family. She is not representing them in this case. So thanks for being with us, Debra. What is this case all about? Is this all about sort of the question being, did the concert promoter hire Dr. Conrad Murray, and therefore is the concert promoter responsible for the death of Michael Jackson because of the medication that we used that eventually killed him?
That's exactly what the jury will be deciding. We had a pretty lengthy lawsuit going forward. What's left now is who hired Michael Jackson, was it AEG, and did they negligently hire and supervise him? There wasn't a signed contract, but there was a prepared contract. Michael Jackson may have selected the doctor, but you have to look at all the lines of communication in this very finite period of time. And these will, in the end, be Michael's final words through the communications of others as to how he was feeling. They're going to have to prove, did AEG absolutely have anything to do with the employment? If that one smoking gun email has anything to do with it, where a CEO or an executive says to Kenny Ortega, you remind Murray who he's working for and who's paying his bills, it's telling.
Sure. So if it's found that AEG did have something to do with the hiring of this doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, who's in jail right now, by the way, then what?
Yeah. Then it goes to a jury as to the damages. That's where people like the family and the financial people and others who may have worked with AEG would deem the value of Michael Jackson. Quincy Jones would absolutely have something to do with the value of Michael Jackson with his record sales and his performances. But when we look at the amount being asked for, plaintiffs always ask for a lot, defendants always offer a little. In the end, when the jury makes their decision as to whether or not AEG was running the show with Murray and who was paying him and who was, you know, governing his actions, the jury will then decide what the value is if Michael had lived.
Now, if it is, if the conclusion is that AEG, the concert promoter, had nothing to do with the hiring of Dr. Conrad Murray, then is the case over?
Yes. The case would be over, and these would be the last days of Michael's memory or Michael in a courtroom. I'm personally interested in what's happening because I started 10 years ago when the child molestation case started to now. These will be Michael's last words because if you pay attention to the emails and the communications, we all will learn very shortly what Michael Jackson's last days were like and what he was going through, and what AEG absolutely did or didn't know, and I suspect they knew a lot.
So the question also for our international viewers, Debra, is this is not a criminal case, and there's a big difference between a criminal case and a civil case. What's the difference as it pertains to this particular suit?
Excellent question, because the standard, the burden of proof, the standard for Dr. Murray was beyond a reasonable doubt. The full jury had to convict him, and they did. With this case now, it's the lowest burden, preponderance of evidence. You don't even need 12 jurors. You can have a total of 9 jurors, and the majority will have to rule whether or not AEG is liable for his death. This is going to be very explicit in what Michael Jackson's lifestyle and habits were. So people are probably going to be very shocked if they haven't been shocked already,
and
I think.
Yes,
anyway.
I was going to ask you, Debra, about Conrad Murray himself. I mean, can he be compelled to testify? He's giving jailhouse interviews. He gave one to our Anderson Cooper. It'll air a little bit later tonight on CNN International. Can he be compelled to testify in this case?
That's another great question. For your international listeners, we have a situation here in the States where if you are standing trial, a criminal trial, you can take the fifth, saying, I don't want to incriminate myself. Yes. But if Murray has already been convicted and he's appealing that conviction, he may, in fact, have another trial down the road criminally. So the question becomes, can he be subpoenaed like O.J. was when he was acquitted? Remember that?
Right.
Can Murray be compelled and subpoenaed to appear in court and testify? At this point in time, I don't think he can. However, his appearing on television talking from jail Isn't that, in a way, maybe his attempt to get his story out without ever taking the stand?
All right, perhaps it is. Anyway, in a few hours, we'll know. Thanks so much, Debra Opri, for joining us from Los Angeles with your analysis and perspective on this case.